Last video we looked at the cumulative frequency table and we built this table up. What we want to do now is produce a cumulative frequency curve from this table. Now, frequency, in this case cumulative frequency, will have to go on the vertical axis. Right? We put it on the vertical axis. That's a usual case, so that's what we'll have to do here. And then the heights in centimeters will go on the horizontal axis. Now let's look at the cumulative frequency at first. Cumulative frequency goes from 0 up to 100. Now let's look at our graph. This is our graph paper, and we want to include our cumulative frequency numbers on the vertical axis. So let me just write this. I'll just label this axis cumulative frequency. Is a bit small. Let me make it a little larger. Alright, I'll label this axis cumulative frequency. Let's take care of this axis at first. What were the numbers again? 0 to 100. So remember now that each of these dark marks here is a centimeter, and you will have to use a scale that will allow you to use up most of the graph paper. You're not going to say that you're going to use a scale of 1 centimeter equal 20 units, because what will happen in that case, you would be saying 1 centimeter 20 units. So you'd have 0, 20, 30 for the one, another centimeter 40, the next centimeter 50, the other centimeter right here. Let me just mark them, mark the centimeters. In fact, let me just make it a bit larger just to explain what I'm talking about. If I increase the size of this and I put in 1 centimeter equals 20 units, what will happen in that case? Alright, 0, 20, 30, another centimeter. No, I'm saying 20 units, not 10 units. This would be 1 centimeter 20 units, 1 more centimeter, another 20 making 40, another centimeter, 20 more making 60, another centimeter, 20 more making 80, another centimeter, 20 more making 100. And you see that you've used up a very, very small portion of the graph paper when almost all of the graph paper is way up here, right? You don't want to do that. Let's use a different scale. Let me decrease the size again so that we can see all of the graph paper. It's not small enough. Okay, we're seeing basically all of the graph paper. Now if I use 2 centimeters for 10 units, or 1 centimeter for 10 units, I would go 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Still not enough. You have a lot of the graph paper all the way up here still not used. So let's review that. Suppose we double that to 2 centimeters equal 10 units. We go 0, 2 centimeter, 10, 2 centimeter, another 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. We would use up most of the graph paper, so let's do that. The scale on the y-axis is 2 centimeters equal 10 units. So let's fill in those numbers. We have 0, 2 centimeter, that's 10, another 2 centimeter, 20, because 2 centimeter, 10 units. We go 2 more centimeter, that's another 10, making it 30. 2 more centimeters up, another 10, making this 40 right here. So let me just mark where I'm looking at. 0 goes down here, 10, 20, 30, 40. 2 more centimeters, this is 10 more, making 50. Another 2, 10 more, 60. 2 more centimeters, because remember passing 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter. Remember that each of these is 1 centimeter, and we're going up 2 centimeters. All right, so remember that that's what we're doing. So 2 more centimeters, another 10, making it 70. 1, 2 more, 80, another 2, 90, past this 1 centimeter, and 2 more centimeter, making it 100. So we have 100 centimeters close to the top of the graph. That's a very good scale. Now, what were the numbers on the x-axis again? From 150 to 174. All right, from 150 to 174. The issue is this: if we are going from 0 up to 174, let's use 175. That's a neat, clean number. Going in steps of 5 or 10 would be neater than stopping at 174. Right? On the graph paper, you could go in steps of 5, 10, 15 and go to 175. That's a neater number than saying 174. So, if we should do that, we could start our 150 here, right? We would show a zigzag showing that we left off the numbers from 0 to 150. All right, now what I'm going to do is increase the size of our graph paper to show what's going on this scale just for a short while. I'll do that. Here, if you consider this as you're starting at 150 and you're going to 175, or you could go to 180, that's close to 174. 50, 60, 70, 80, that's 30. From 150 to 180 is 30. Now, how can you divide this into 30 evenly? Now, what you could do is say from 150, you could try trial and error at first. 155, if you go up 1 centimeter to 5 units, you would say 160, 165, 170, one more centimeter, 175. You would finish too early. You wouldn't be using up the graph paper. I had tried 1 centimeter to 5 units. Let's not bother with that. It's too make the line too short. Suppose we double it up and saying 2 centimeters to 5 units. So you have 150, 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 5, 155, 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 5 more gives you 160, and pass 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 165, 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 170, 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 175. Okay. Yeah, that's a fairly good scale. You would use up most of the graph paper on the y-axis. All right. So that's what would happen. Now, let me just make a note of what the scales are. Scale X axis. On the X axis, what was it? 2 centimeter equal 5 units. 2 cm equal 5 units. And the Y axis, we had 2 cm equals 10 units. Let me make this a bit neater. Scale. Put this down a bit. X axis 2 cm equals 5 units. Y axis 2 cm equals 10 units. Where should I put it? Let me put it down here. Alright, put it up here. Okay, so we have our scale. Let's see if we can resize our graph paper to put it back where it was. This is where we had started. Somewhere here. Okay, we need to make it just a little bit shorter. Alright, that's somewhat close. We need to make it just a little bit shorter than it was before. Just a little shorter. And we come here. Alright, what we'll do, you get the idea of what I was talking about earlier. So what we will do at this point is to just put back the numbers where they belong. Alright, now putting back those numbers from 0 to 100 on the x-axis, we have 0, 2 cm equal, on the y-axis I mean, 2 cm equal 10 units, so 1 cm, 2 cm, that's 10, 1, 2, that's 20, 1, 2, 30, 1, 2, 40, 1, 2, 50, 1, 2, 60, 1, 2, 70, 1, 2, 80, 90. We missed it, you know. I should have put this down a little bit more. Alright. Let's go again. So, what we have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So just marking them: 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Alright. Now, on the y-axis, 2 cm equal 5 units. So we skipped and start our 150 here. Make the line a little thinner. 2 cm, 155, skip 2, 160, because we keep adding, we're going up by 5. This is 160, then 165, 170, 175. Okay, good. Now, what we have on the table, let's look at it. You have 0 up to, remember, we started at 155, but you could have measured 149.5 and rounded it up to 155. So we start there. We're saying that how many of these models were taller than or measured less than 155? There were 0. So the number of models who measured less than 155, what did I say? Less than 155? Less than 149.5. Less than 149.5. It's right here. Shorter than 149.5, there were 0. Now, shorter than 149.5. 149.5, 0. You're not going to put your 0 at 155. You're going to put your 0 to the left at 155, showing that you're covering 149.5. Alright? So 149.5 about there. Then you look back on the table and say how many were shorter than 154.5. It is 8. Remember, we're looking at shorter than 154.5. We began at the start not at 150 but 149.5 due to rounding off. When we reached the beginning of the second class, we would have covered all 8, going up to 154 and a little more. So by the time we reach the second class, we say 8 were shorter than 154.5. Remember, the upper boundary of this is 154.5. The lower boundary of this is the same, 154.5. Upper boundary of the first class is 154.5. That's where it stops, where it books. The lower boundary, where this starts, is 154.5, the same 154.5. So, how many persons were shorter than 154.5? It was 8. Shorter than 154.5 is 8. This is 155. 154.5 means you start just to the left and you go up to where 8 is. Now you want to find 8. From here to here is 10. Halfway up is 5. You have, we're not going to worry too much about these little squares at this point. We will zoom in and show them later on. Alright? But if you have your real graph paper, you can look from now at that graph paper and you will see 1 centimeter will represent 5. I didn't write it, but it represents 5. 2 centimeter represents 10. Between 0 and 1 centimeter, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 small squares. 5 small squares. Now, if you have 5 small squares and they go up to 5, it means that 5 is divided into 5 equal parts. So each of these small squares represents 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that on your real graph paper. Now, continuing up, 6. Another small square means 7. Then the next one means 8. So 8 would be somewhere along here. Alright? So you accurately locate 8. Now, as for the small squares going across, you have 10 small squares between 150 and 155. You can see them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 small squares. That means you have 5 units divided into 10. So 5 over 10, 0.5. Each of them represents 0.5. Now, in doing that, let me just erase back these. In doing that, you can see that when you go back 1 small square, that is your 154.5. Alright? So therefore, the mark, just for accuracy, will be in line with this 1 line behind 155 and 2 lines below 10. So the mark for 8 would be right here. So you can be very accurate in locating where your point is. Alright? So remember now, going across, each small square represents 0.5. Alright? Just to note, each small square, between each of the small squares, 0.5 going across. That's going across, and then going up. Each of the small squares, the distance between each small square is 1. Just to remember. Alright? Now, let's look back at our table. Now, at the beginning of the 3rd class, the lower boundary is 159.5. How many people fell below the 159.5? No, yeah, 159.5. How many were shorter than 159.5? You have the 16 plus the 8. A total of 24 were shorter than 159.5. So you're going to locate 159.5, 24. So 159.5 is just to the left of 160. You're going to go up and locate 24. 20. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here would be your point that you're going to plot. Let me just get rid of these, erase them. Alright, now next point. How many persons measured were shorter than 164.5? Because 164.5 would begin in the 4th class. It would end the 3rd class but begin the 4th class. So when you went from 159.5 to 164.5, you covered these 43, and the cumulative frequency table is showing that you had a total of 67. So you're going to locate 164.5, 67. So 164.5, 67. 164.5 is just to the left of 165, one mark to the left. And what was it again? 67. 67. Where is 67? It's 60. You know that here you go upwards, this will be 65. Two more marks, 66, 67. So 67 would be right here. Alright, would be right at that dot. Alright, so let me just erase those little markings I made earlier. Don't want too much markup on this table. Then the next point will be at once, for the same argument, 169.5, 96. How many persons were shorter than 169.5 centimeters? It means cover this, cover the 29, the 43, the 16 and the 8. Cover those for the 29, 43, 16 and 8. 96. So you locate 169.5, 96. 169.5, 96. Right? Just to make sure. 169.5, 96. 169.5, 96. 169.5, 96. 169.5 would be just to the left of the 170, and then 90 is 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. Yeah, 95, 96 would be right here. Alright, 96 is right there, so you'll see. And then one more point to plot. When you reach 174.5, it means you would have covered all going up. You covered everybody. So it's 174.5, 100. 174.5, 100. I didn't put the 1 here. I put 75. It should be 175. Let me make this right. It should be 175. No, 175, 100. Where is it? Where is 175, 100? See if we can find it. 175, 100. Well, 174.5, 100, I should say. Just to the left. This lines up. This line lines up with 100. And just to the left of one. Let me just make sure everything is okay. 174.5, 100. Nice. Remember, you don't touch 175, you go up to 174. But you could have gone up to 174.5. Not really touching 174.5, but close to it. And round back down to 174. So 174.5, 100. 174.5, 100. So you are right here. Okay. Nice. Now, it's time to draw the curve. What you do is draw the best curve you can through these lines. Don't just join, remember, don't join them with straight lines. Do not do that. It's supposed to be a curve. Alright? Remember, these are many people that we measured, and we missed out some persons between here. So if you should put them all together, it would be a smooth curve. So let me try. Trying my best now. Just trying my best. Oh, let me erase this. That was accidental. Alright. So, going ahead now with my curve. Okay. Let me continue now. Trying to make my curve smooth and to make it pass through all the points. Oh, start to get some bending, but you get the idea still. No. Alright. Whoa, I made a bit of a mess in the middle or so, but you have what is called a cumulative frequency curve. Right now, that cumulative frequency curve, sometimes it's referred to as an OGIVE due to the architectural shape of the curve. It's in the form of an S, generally in the form of an S. Alright, now I didn't label the bottom here as height. You must label your, remember to label your axes, right? Alright, now it's called an ogive. Alright, let me put everything here in one. I want everything here in one so that when I move them I won't have much of a problem. Alright, pages previous, next erase. Oh, this version doesn't have the group to group them together. Right? I'll just have to move everything at once then. Now remember, I want you to redo this using a real graph paper in your practice to draw the cumulative frequency curve. Right? Now, having done this, let us look more closely at what was happening on the graph paper. Right? Let me zoom in a bit, as I promised before. I'll zoom in on the graph paper a bit more and take a closer look. We said on the x-axis 2 centimeters equal 5 units. X-axis 2 centimeters equal 5 units. So we went from 150 to 155. What I was saying is that if you look at the small squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 2 centimeters is divided into 10 small squares. Now, what that means is that if you go from 150 155. That's 5 divided by 10 is half. So you would say 150. 150 and a half, 151. 151 and a half, 152, 152 and a half, 153, 153 and a half, 154, 154 and a half, 155. You see that? So right here would be 154.5. And then on the y-axis, 2 centimeters equal 10 units. So you have 0 right here, 2 centimeters, that's 10. I didn't write it before this, but 1 centimeter would be 5. How many squares you have between 0 and 5 units? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each of these squares represent a 1. So you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so that would make it a bit easier for you to accurately put your points where you would put them. Alright, so I will just end this video at this point, and I will see you in the next video.